Drop whatever you're doing, Greta. I've got an opening for a new story, and I'd like you to type it out. Ready? Well then. When she realized the danger, it was already too late. For her own violent death hovered near. She'd wanted to uncover the truth about her friend's disappearance. That's why she maneuvered to get the job. Just a pretext to enter that house. For it was there that her friend was last seen alive.
Everything is ready, my darling. Do not be afraid. Soon we'll be together again.
This sandwich tastes as dry as hell.
Hello and welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show. I am Richard. Folks, welcome to your Saturday night special or your Sunday morning breakfast podcast. I'm not here to judge. I'm here with freaking GregaMortis. Oh my God.
What up, what up? What up, Rich? This has been a long time coming.
Yes, we've been talking about doing something. I still need to re-invite myself back to your show.
Yes.
Although you'd already invited me, so technically.
That's right. Now I just gotta go through with that, right?
Yeah. I invite myself everywhere.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
But Greg's here. We're going to talk about frickin' A Muck from 1972, written and directed by Silvio Amadio, or as I mislabeled him in Giallo Meltdown, Silvio Amadio, because I'm an idiot, who had to do his own editing on his own books because I have no budget for an editor. So in case you're looking for some great, well-researched writing, check out my books anyway.
Sure.
Giallo Meltdown, a Movie-Thon Diary, and Giallo Meltdown 2, all available on Amazon.com or .gov, however you use your Amazon. Eventually there'll be a government, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe.
The world domination.
Not our lifetime, but maybe one day.
That was probably a Black Mirror episode or something. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, we're talking A Muck. This is going to get spoiled. So if you've never seen A Muck, we're not going to do every single scene. We're going to do a nice representation, but we're absolutely going to spoil the ending. So give it a look. I know, Greg, you were struggling with finding this one.
Yes.
And I had an old, I won't say black market. It was gray market. DVD. It wasn't a DVD-R. It actually had like the real silver on the back of the DVD, but the artwork was like totally cheapo, and it was the uncut version of the film, but it was full frame. Why would you ever want to chop the frickin' sides out? It was obviously a VHS rip, but it was very nice. It was watchable, and here we are, fast forward to the magical year of 2024, and we have got at least a download.
Yes, and it was actually, you're right, really pretty.
Yeah.
But when you look up to try to buy this thing, it was like $60 to $100. So I was like, yeah. Maybe it's worth it. I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh man, even if it is, it isn't. I'm one of those people who I will just walk away.
Yeah.
I'll be like, whoa, that's like $40 for that movie. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Peace.
Didn't need it that bad. But yeah, so this has alternate titles. This is some great alternate titles. I'm going to butcher some Italian for you. It's Alla Ricerca or Ricerca del Piacere. Oh my God. I'm not Italian. It's In Pursuit of Pleasure is the translation there. And this movie is definitely pursuing something.
Sure.
Pursuing eels. It's also known as Hotbed of Sex.
Yes, that's what I should have named it.
I found the poster. I mean, not in my house. I just found this poster on the internet, where you find all hotbeds of sex. And then Leather and Whips was another one, which I think would be very disappointing to somebody.
Yeah, there's no whips.
There's not even a spanking in this movie.
No, that's true. Now that would go good with Stevie Nicks' song. Remember the Leather and Lace song? See, we could have tied that together. Maybe have a little of that backtrack music.
Leather and Lace is definitely a gateway to whips.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For some reason, this also had the title Maniac Mansion. I don't know how they got that either. Technically, the villa that these characters inhabit could be a mansion.
Yeah.
And finally, the Spanish title was Fury of the Assassin. Also not accurate.
Not accurate at all. I like, what was a hotbed of sex?
If you don't install a hotbed of sex in your Maniac Mansion, you're doing something wrong. But I found a great trailer. I sent Greg this trailer, and I told you, like, don't watch this at work.
I did, though. It's all good. It's all good.
But this trailer, they put a lot of work into this to selling A Muck. And so I normally edit these down, but this is a hot 3 minutes. So here is the trailer for A Muck.
Soon the film A Muck will be playing in this area. Because of the nature of the film and the nudity and sexuality involved, we have made cuts in the coming attractions trailer that you are about to see. However, when A Muck plays in this theater, you will see it complete, with nothing cut out.
A Muck is the story of a sex-crazed madman. He lived on an isolated island where he lured beautiful girls. First, he only watched, but then he did much more.
A few days before she disappeared, we couldn't help noticing a change had come over her, as if she were being tormented by something.
There were always new victims for his depraved desires. Beautiful young faces and bodies who were thrown into an explosion of sexual frenzy by drugs they never knew they took. He forced them to do what he wanted. And he wanted everything. When he was finished ravaging their bodies, they disappeared forever.
Strange. Fire that gives off no heat. The game's over now. You must die.
Take her.
A Muck is a movie so real, so mind-boggling that you want to leave. But you won't be able to.
Hey, my friend Bernie, he told me this picture was strong. It's strong.
What do I think of this picture? I think the people who did it ought to be arrested.
What a picture.
You know, and I don't see anything wrong with sex and nudity.
I never saw so much sex and nudity in a movie. I can't believe it. They would put that on a screen.
A Muck. A film that had to wait for the permissive 1970s before it could be made.
I love the 3 people or 4 people at the end that they talk to about how hot this movie is.
I've never seen so much sex on TV before.
And even better, there's posters for a totally different movie behind them.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with it. It's so good. That whoever distributed A Muck was they were very special.
Yeah. They should have had somebody going, filthy, filth.
Oh my god, so good. Oh, God. So the synopsis from good old IMDb is: the secretary of a writer and his wife investigates the disappearance of her lover, their previous secretary, and finds herself the target of the couple's erotic desires and a murder plot.
Yeah, let's emphasize the sex part. Don't worry about murder plot. We'll
Murder
put that
plot.
in. Murder plot.
We said that part real fast so she wouldn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Silvio Amadio, he did several films. This, of course, spoilers, is my favorite of his films that I've seen. But he also did Smile Before Death.
Which I didn't dislike that movie. I think I actually gave that thing like a 7.5 or 8.
I'll tell you what, we have already recorded an episode on that.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear it.
Mark stopped by and we did that one. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'll say what my favorite of his is, but of his movies of this type, A Muck is my favorite because, of course, he did So Young, So Lovely, So Vicious, The Tongue Twister, and a few others. But the movie I love is called Il Medium from 1980, which I am so glad I have a download of because there is nothing.
Ooh. So that's not even VHS, huh?
Mm-mm. No, it's great. I will totally send it to you.
I like it. I love the poster, man. Actually, kind of creepy little poster. I like
Yeah,
that.
there's an alternate one with the hands doing there's like a overhead shot of a seance because it's a movie that has dueling seances.
Oh, you got me sold already,
Man, it's insane. It's totally insane. I love that movie. It's great.
So Young, So Lovely, So Vicious. What is this? Is this a Giallo? Obviously not.
It gets tagged as a Giallo like everything does on IMDb now. But it's like another one of those younger girl shows up and this disgusting couple has their lives ruined because they're assholes.
Okay.
Sort of like this movie. Although Barbara Boucher is less of a dick.
There you go.
Much less.
Got our girl Dagmar in it, so it ought to be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, Dagmar, I'd watch her do her taxes. She's so beautiful, so beautiful. But this has music by a composer I'm not familiar with, Tio Usueli. And damn, I remember the music being okay. But with this viewing, man, the music is awesome.
Love it. I loved it. Man, there's scenes in here we'll get to that it was really, really punchy.
Hit so hard. Cinematographer was Aldo Giordani. And I didn't get much about his career that stuck out to me. But one of the producers of this, Roberto Palagi, has a Giallo that, much like this film, needs a Blu-ray, and that is Bloodlink.
Ooh.
Bloodlink has the incomparable Michael Moriarty, who I read an interview with Michael Moriarty, and he talked about how he wanted to be the next Marlon Brando. And I was like, well, you're batshit crazy.
Yeah.
So you're halfway there. But yeah, also in a patron saint of Hello, This is the Doom Show, Cameron Mitchell is in Bloodlink. And true to form, he is sweaty. He plays a boxer, like a retired boxer who's always jogging everywhere. So he's sweating. So it's sweaty Cameron Mitchell. It's what you want.
Yeah.
As for characters, we've got some extremely familiar faces. As Richard Stewart, the villainous man of this film. We got Farley Granger, who is like, they should introduce his voice before they introduce him. Because, man, Farley Granger's voice, he utters a line in this that's one of my favorite moments in the movie. I'll talk about that later. But he was in The Prowler.
Yes.
And So Sweet, So Dead. And another Giallo, like dangling in the breeze without a Blu-ray, The Red-Headed Corpse, which you can usually find that one on like a bootleg.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah, I don't own it, but I have seen it.
Barbara Boucher is in this as Greta Franklin. She's our amateur detective. You got to have an amateur detective in your Giallo. Mm-hmm. And who better than Barbara Boucher? I mean...
Absolutely.
If I'm remembering correctly, this was the first time I ever saw her, was in this movie.
Oh, wow.
I think. I could be mixing that up with something else because she was in so much stuff.
Yeah.
But this one, I really remember her. And of course, Rosalba Neri, she plays Richard's wife, Eleonora. And this was definitely the first time I saw her because I remember watching this and Lady Frankenstein around the same time.
Yeah.
And just being blown away completely. What else was Rosalba in? I mean, she was in...
Girl in Room 2A.
Oh, my God. Yes. You know what's so funny is I always talk about how much I love that film, and I've still not watched that Blu-ray.
Right. Who released that?
Oh, that was Mondo, I believe.
Mondo? Okay.
Yep. And that is one of the worst car chases ever filmed in it. Oh, shit. So good. As our detective, our actual card-carrying detective, Il Commissario Antonelli, played by Nino Segarini, who I thought this was the only movie I'd seen with him. That is not true. He's in Beyond the Door.
I've not seen that.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Nice.
Oh, boy. I'm assuming you've seen maybe one or two Exorcist ripoffs.
Yes, I have.
This is like the granddaddy of Exorcist ripoffs. This one wasn't the one that got blocked. Like the cease and desist order came down like on Abby, the blaxploitation one. This one is a shameless ripoff of The Exorcist. It's absolutely great. You're in for a treat.
And what's the name of it again?
Beyond the Door.
Wait a minute. Maybe I have seen Beyond the Door.
See, that's what you surprised me. It's got
Has that got the kids in it?
Yeah, you've seen it. You've totally seen it.
I have.
It's got the kid happily drinking out of a Campbell's soup can in the back seat.
Cussing like a sailor.
Oh yeah. Yep. You've been traumatized. Yeah. I was so surprised you said you hadn't seen it. I was like, how did Greg miss this? Oh my God. Well, there you go. I don't remember who Nino plays in that, but I'm always up for a rewatch of that. Dino Mele, this was the one person who I was like, didn't remember he was in this movie.
Yeah.
Didn't remember this character. He plays Sandro. He barely a character, but he is Eleonora's lover. His claim to fame was he was the kid actor from Once Upon a Time in the West. So he's the one who's, as a kid, has the harmonica in his mouth in that pivotal scene they keep flashing back to. But then he grew up and did a bunch of other movies.
You're going to hate me for this, but I've never seen it.
It's 3 hours long.
Well, here's my thing. Like, Ian is introducing me to a bunch of spaghetti westerns slowly. So on Black Glove Mysteries, we always do Giallo, but now we're starting to squeeze a little, maybe a little Polizia. Yeah. So he's slowly introducing me to some.
Oh, man. They're like potato chips. Once you start, you can't stop. No. Well, Lietta, she does not like spaghetti westerns. Mm-hmm. She's just like, no. Like, I have like begged her to say, I love Django. You know, the original Django. And because that's like, if you watch one Western and never watch another one again, that's the one to do it.
I've seen it. My wife loved it too. Yeah,
man, it's just so great. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West it's 3 hours. You got to commit. There's probably a longer cut. There's probably like a 4-hour version out there. My favorite of that dude, all of his Western stuff is for a few dollars more. I could watch that over and over again. Okay. But I definitely don't judge you.
I actually own those. Ian sent me some Blu-rays. I think I've got all those on Blu-ray or some form because he upgraded or something.
Well, that's the way to do it. You know, don't watch them on VHS. You'll get pen and scan whiplash. Oh, yeah. Ow. My neck hurts. So Umberto Rajo, another Giallo staple actor. He's in so much stuff. I love him. He's the king of doing like either a major role in a movie or a walk-on butler role. He's great. And of course, he's the butler in this movie. Of course, if he played the priest, then he would have been the killer, but, you know. We've got, in the flashbacks, we see Sally Reese. She is the one who Barbara Boucher's character is trying to find. This is Patrizia Viotti, who, this poor girl, she was in 2 Giallo, one Giallo, one Italian horror. One's Death Falls Lightly, which is fine.
Okay. I don't know.
You're going to get to it, but don't get excited. It's fine. And then she was in a really weird Italian horror movie called Night of the Damned. That's also okay. It was a year before this one. She had a major drug problem, according to Wikipedia, and she had to retire from acting very early and lived a very short life, sadly. And last but not least, as our real main character, Rocco, got Petar Matrinovich, who was in Lady Frankenstein with good old Rossel Baneri.
Nice.
They were probably buds.
Yeah. They were chumps.
The biggest hands I've ever seen.
Oh my God, they were huge. I think when they say giant, they meant giant. Like
the pure terror of that scene. We'll talk about that scene when we get to his giant hands. But yeah, so here's my trivia for you. This is a little trivia because I learned how to count semi-recently. Umberto Rajo in 1972 was in 10 films.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. Rossel Baneri in 1972 was in 13 films. And just to be a competitive lady, Barbara Boucher in 1972 was in 14 films. She's like, Neri, I'll do you one better.
Oh, now were they all directed by Jess Franco?
Oh my God.
Curious
oh my God. Jess Franco was like, oops, I directed a film on the toilet. My bad. Oh man.
I will check out all 14 Barbara Boucher's 1972 films.
I'm wondering how many I've seen from that year. That's like
all of them.
There's got to be one. There's got to be something.
I feel like you've seen them all. I just really do think you have.
All right, I'll go look. Let's do it. I'll just scroll down here.
I'm scrolling right now because I'm curious. I feel like you've seen them all. I really.
I'll count the ones I have seen. I've seen Caliber 9. I've seen A Muck. I've seen Smile Before Death, where she has an uncredited part as a party guest. French Sex Murders. Red Queen Kills 7 Times. Don't Torture a Duckling. And that's it.
I think I counted 5 of the 14. So yeah, I'm batting low.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, my tolerance for sex comedies is like in the toilet. So
I'm still sitting on the bench saying, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play."
Get this man some sex comedies.
Come on now.
All right. So we're going to talk about the plot here. As mentioned earlier, good old Barbara Boucher as Greta. She has taken a job as the secretary for Farley Granger, Mr. Richard Stewart, so that she can look for her pal Sally. And my first favorite moment of the movie is when she meets Farley Granger, and he says the most batshit crazy thing to her. He's like,
"You imagine me to be a sea monster with 100 eyes and a cavernous mouth. You thought at night I grew hands long enough to slap the moon. But that if I should become little once again, I'd cry a river of tears. Now, isn't that so?"
I will play this entire line of crazy shit he says.
Nice.
I've never in my life heard anything like it.
It's not translated wrong over either, right? That's just the way.
Well, that's the thing. Farley Granger, I've only seen him in maybe 2 movies where he didn't dub himself. Like, I think So Sweet, So Dead, someone else dubbed him in that. And I've definitely seen one other thing where it was not Farley Granger. But usually, some actors have the clout to where they could, dub themselves. It was in their contract. The experience of filming So Sweet, So Dead, he's probably like, I'm not coming back for that. Not to knock that film, but it's...
Right.
It's just so grim. It is a great cast in a not very fun film.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a good movie. But anyway, So then another scene I love is when Greta meets up with the detective, and she has a little bit of evidence about how something might have happened to Sally. So she lets him read her letter. And while the voiceover of Sally is playing, reading this letter, the camera just focuses on the reflections of Venice. By the way, this was shot in Venice. The reflections of Venice in the murky waters of the canals, and everything's all trippy and weird, and the music's really ethereal. And it's like, oh man, we're in for it.
Yep.
What elevates this trashy trash is, I mean, we got some sexy ladies, but this is very like nicely well made sexy trash.
True.
And of course, speaking of sexy, the amazing Barbara Boucher, her whoever was doing her costuming, puts her in a nightgown on her first night in the villa of the Stewarts. Greg, you want to talk about this scene here?
Yeah, good setup and it's early in the movie, so she's basically, we first get a undressing shot of her going into the bathroom, right? And we get a little side boobage, and then she puts the nightgown on, and she's doing what she normally would do, go to bed, right? So she goes to the window, it opens, and that's when we hear the blood curdling scream, because there's a creepy dude there, right? And then here comes the Richard, what's wrong? And they open the window. Oh, that's just Rocco. It's all good. It's just Rocco. Like, wait a minute. Almost lost life to this giant.
Yeah, that's our gentle giant, who we'll find out later is not so gentle.
Yeah, right.
It's great. I love it. I always have that thing where this started with Lena Romay. I've been talking about this a lot on this show for some reason. I think I might be in love with Lena Romay from all the Jess Franco movies. Is that seeing her naked a billion times? It's hotter when she has clothes on. And Barbara Boucher, depending on who her tailor is, like the designer of this nightgown.
Yeah.
Woo, man.
Wear it all the time.
Exactly. No, keep it on. Keep it on. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, in order to calm her down, good old Eleonora gives Greta a nice bit of drops in her water. Things get a little crazy. What happens?
It's what was that, ecstasy? Like, I don't know what she was dropping some mollies. I don't know, dropping something.
Spanish fly.
Yeah, and it literally only took one sip. Like, she barely drank any water, right? But we got the scene with Barbara in the bed. She's laying down, panicking, and Eleonora's like, drink the water. She drinks, and then we get this well, I'm not going to say several, but it was quite a few minutes of just slow motion making out scene of two girls completely naked. But I will say, though, not just the nudity. I'm talking the music was beautiful, man. It was just so perfect. It's a great scene, honestly. I mean, barring the nudity, it was just really well done. And it's so creepy and haunting and beautiful. So you don't know what to do. You're just sitting there like, that's great. That's great. But it was awesome. I love the slow motion.
Yeah, I need to go to YouTube and look up this composer and see, like, hope that he has a channel with all of his other stuff in it, because I really need to investigate this guy more.
So what would you call that? Like, it was some kind of, I don't know. I'm not saying techno. I mean, it has something going. It was just, I don't know. It was awesome.
It was very dreamy.
Yes.
And it was very, like, I wouldn't call it jazzy, because it was more romantic, kind of. And like some jazz. Of course, the romance is not great because it's not consensual. Like,
no, not at all.
Guys, we're drugging here. What are we doing? I'm always afraid of Rosalba Neri in the night. What's she gonna do next? What? The next morning, she wakes up and she thinks, "Oh, that must have all been a dream." But she dropped her water glass. She knocked her water glass on the floor, and there's still like water on the floor in the exact spot. So she knows something happened, which might be why she immediately resumes her mission. She's not lulled into this sexy ass lifestyle just yet. So she goes snooping, and what does she go snooping for?
Oh, the scene where down in the cellar is awesome.
Yeah.
She basically finds some items, but the one thing is we get the burned half picture of Sally. So now we know, oh, Sally has been here and there's something going on. And then we get that flash sequence, right? We get the That was during the scene of the waterfall and Sally and the makeout session. So we know, wait a minute, she said she was friends with him, but now we know maybe a little bit more.
Absolutely, yes.
But that was a cool sequence too. Good music once again. Waterfall.
The slow-mo,
Slow-mo. They got a theme going here.
Silvio Amadio's like, I wrote this. I'm going to write this.
Sure.
So next we get one of my favorite things that happens in this movie is the tape machine porn. There is so much reel to reel. I wrote in my notes, this movie's too real. And then I wrote, comma, real to real, LOL. That was in my notes. Greg does not endorse that hideous joke I made.
That was hilarious.
Thank you. We'll pause. We'll go take a break.
Yeah, here
so you can keep laughing. Oh, thank you. So Greta fires up the old tape recorder. She's supposed to be, doing some typing for Richard, transcription work, and she gets more than she was expecting. What does she hear on this tape, Greg?
Oh wow. We get the whole scenario of murder, right? Because he's explaining how he murdered somebody. So we get the backstory, or do we get the backstory? But we get a story of how Sally was murdered, was buried by the Rocco, right? So Rocco had strangled her, right?
It's like done in stages. They wanted to pad it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So what they did is first it just talks about him dumping the body in the swamps.
And it was great because it's like in the night with water, white from the water or whatever, and somebody drives by or somebody floats by on a boat. He wasn't scared. It's dark, right?
Exactly.
That was a great scene too, though.
It is the best shot in the film. To me, one of the top 10 most iconic shots in a Giallo is Barbara Boucher sitting in the dark. The tape player's in the foreground. And she's sitting there, and the light from the window is just doing the stripe of light across her eyes. And she's like, oh, shit. I work for a murderer.
Dun, dun, dun.
She's like, I knew he was a murderer when I got here, but I didn't expect him to freaking record it.
Yeah, right.
One of the things I love about this movie is randomly they claim that Eleonora has ESP.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes into this fugue state of I've got the vapors, kind of like passing out, acting crazy. I have no idea when this happens, but it's wonderful. All we needed then was a seance.
It's almost what we had, almost.
Almost. And then we get the news that a body has been found in the bog, in the local Venetian blog. I said blog. Whatever, bog. I'm blogging about my bog body.
That's right.
Anyway, they find a body, and it's right around the time that Boucher's acting like she's getting into this crew. She's sort of acting almost like she likes Richard and Eleonora, but this news of the body, maybe I'm not really into these fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
These non-consensual fuckers.
The Little Red Riding Hood scene.
Oh, man. Also, they watch a porno. Oh, my God. So crazy. And it was homemade.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I'm like, whoa, you guys spent money doing that? Oh, boy. So then we finally see the flashback when at a bar, of all places, Richard tells Greta all about what happened.
Right.
What happened that night? What was the horrible thing that happened?
That they were doing a party, I guess you would say, one of these sex parties, I guess, but it was Eleonora and Sally was there, and Sally's dancing provocatively. She's doing her thing. She's kind of doped up a little bit, you can tell. And Eleonora's getting off. She's liking that Rocco's there, so they have a little bit of make-out session. Do they have sex? I don't know. If it was the Halloween 1978 sex where it took 2 seconds and it was done. I don't know. Just saying. But then Rocco goes over and he starts playing around with Sally, and that's when the strangulation happens by accident, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And she perishes. And Eleonora is shocked. What have you done? Get off of her.
It was all an accident of murder.
Yeah, right.
But man, this scene is brutal. I remember I used to be such a cold, calculating son of a biscuit when I first started watching these movies that I didn't like scenes like this, like sexual violence. I always was like, whoa, that happened in a movie I'm watching, you know. Now I'm like, oh, I was almost like scared to rewatch A Muck because my tastes have changed. I try to avoid scenes like this.
I understand.
But when it's important to the story and you see that it affects people, especially when they're a corpse afterwards, but like the fear is just like, it's important for, I think, to record the consequences of something like this.
Yeah.
And not make it for titillation. But man, it is scary as shit when you just see the size of Rocco's hands. I was going to say hands.
He's got the Andre the Giant hand.
Man, her face almost disappears when he starts strangling her. It's nuts. That man is a giant man. But yeah, it's really sad. It's one of those, it's just so depressing. This whole thing is so... But what's crazy is that right before Richard is telling her this story, there's literally a bartender in the room with them.
Right.
I had never noticed that before.
What's this? My first time watching, so I didn't have a clue.
It appears that he left, but what if he was in earshot?
Oh, God.
What if he was like, now that's a fucked up story, you guys. Does anybody want any refills at J&B? Which we get a J&B sighting this late in the game, but damn it, it's there.
Was it there? I did not see it.
He was in the bar. Yep.
Oh my God. I was getting ready to say, all right, well, I'm scratching my final thoughts. Okay. Thank you for telling me that. I just totally missed that.
I will do anything to inhibit.
Okay, great.
After this, it appears that Greta is going to go away with Richard on a train trip. And one of my favorite moments is the way that Farley Granger says that he's going to kiss her. He emphasizes the word kiss so hard. Now I'm going to kiss you. And I will play that clip. I hope I didn't blow out the microphone with that. I'm gonna lay that in there. It's just the stupidest thing that made me laugh so hard. And look at it, I was like, wow, why did he say it like that?
I won't be in London for more than 3 days. Now I'm going to kiss you.
So anyway, shit goes down, and the big climax of the movie is foolishly Barbara Boucher's character Greta. She thinks she's gonna like get these people, she's gonna nail them, but then she ends up in the same situation as Sally, with Eleonora and Rocco, and of course Richard comes in, and he, unlike me, who's named Richard, he admits that he was there. And that he witnessed the entire thing and did nothing, just like Eleonora did, nothing to stop Sally from getting killed. It's not nice.
No.
But Greta, being the wonderful person that she is, when she was kind of flirting with Rocco earlier in his little hovel, he unfortunately murders an eel.
It was a real eel. It was definitely
that poor eel.
Live animal killing on this.
I know where my tuna fish sandwich comes from, all right?
It's
full of eel meat. But he cuts open this eel and, of course, slices his finger. And she treats his wound. And this gives Rocco this heartfelt feelings towards Greta. So even though, once again, Eleonora's got him drunk.
But did you feel like that was a moment that was like, pay attention because of this out of sequence, really makes no sense in the movie moment that was going to play out somewhere? I felt it, and there, lo and behold, boom.
See, I've watched too many of these, and my brain's like, plot happen, filler. It's all, but no, Silvio, good call. Silvio Amadio he's a smart dude. He's going to do that. So instead of killing Greta, he totally just flips out and attacks everybody but her, and good old Eleonora gets bashed into the fireplace and dies from a head injury.
Face plant. Loved it.
Richard feebly tries to stab Rocco and gets stabbed with his own knife, which apparently is like the greatest fear of every screenwriter ever.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen a film that didn't have a person get stabbed with their own knife? Like
99% of them anyway.
Exactly. That's one of those tropes that I just don't like. I've heard people say like that doesn't happen, and I'm like,
Really?
Maybe it does. I mean, it seems like the number one cause of death. At the end of the film, Greta is like, okay, I've officially had enough of Venice. I hope this place fucking sinks. I'm leaving. As the detective who's been kind of flirting with Greta a little bit, and rightfully so, because it's Barbara Boucher, and also he's got the badass clip-on sunglasses. He wishes her well by buying her a box of candy, and at the last moment, he just blurts out, oh, by the way, the body they found in the bog wasn't Sally.
Right. Nonchalant, too, though.
Yeah.
We get the fin.
Yes, he's like, BTW.
Yeah.
And as the train is pulling away, you see Barbara Boucher is so good. She's so great. Her smile fades.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I probably shouldn't have gotten on this train. I need to get back in here and go help you look through the bog. And that is A Muck. That is the entire A Muckington.
Mr. Relaxation has done a very good job. I almost forgot. I had to say Mr. Relaxation.
You brought it. Perry Como, SCTV. Go to YouTube. It's on there. 3 minutes. My favorite 3 minutes ever. It's great.
Freaking gold. I just seen it. I'm telling you, it's gold.
Of course, my favorite is John Candy going, oi.
Oi. Yeah, when he walks, yeah, oi. Oh, God. That's good stuff.
Hi, what did you think of the show?
Well, some people call him Mr. Relaxation. I thought tonight's show was a little up-tempo, but he's still my favorite entertainer. Last time I saw him was 14 years ago in the Holy Land.
I think you told me the trivia about this, that someone very special was supposed to be in this movie in, I believe, in Barbara Boucher's role as Greta. Now, who was it and why couldn't they make it?
Edwidge Vinich. And we all know Edwidge Vinich.
Of course.
Wow. And she could not be in the movie due to supposedly she was pregnant with Edwin Vinich, her son.
How did a woman who looks like that find someone to have sex with her?
I don't know. It's a miracle. Miracles.
You know what? It takes all kinds, right?
Yeah, right. All kinds of critters to make this.
And that's another thing that I really wish I'd read that Shock Cinema. There's a great interview with Barbara Boucher in Shock Cinema magazine. Barbara Boucher and Edwidge had a nice little rivalry. Mm-hmm. Barbara Boucher claims that it was all on Edwidge. She's like, oh no, I liked her. She didn't like me. It's like, sure.
So we had really beef. Like there was really beef on these two. This is cool. We should have had a shootout, like a duel.
Dude, I mean, I could see them stealing roles from each other. Like totally, like just showing up to the interview, just like the casting thing just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I've been here since 5 a.m., you fucking bitch.
I talked through this little side note, and I'm trying not to go down a rabbit hole, but Douglas Tate, I don't know if you know who Douglas Tate is, but stunt actor, him and Derek Mears. Okay, now if you know anything about these guys, Derek Mears and Douglas Tate, body size, height wise, are identical. They could be twins.
All right.
Not facial, but body wise. So Douglas Tate, I talked to him several years ago at a convention. I'll never forget it. He's like, walks up to Derek Mears. That was his competition. Like they love each other, but he could never get a role over Derek Mears. Derek was in Friday the 13th. He was in all these different movies, and Douglas Tate could never freaking get the roles, right? Because he's like, oh, this bastard. Where I go, it's always me and him going for the role, and he's always getting it over. So, yeah.
Nice.
But his shining moment, Douglas Tate, was that he was in Friday the 13th, Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, nice. He made it.
He made it at the end of that one. So he's cool. But anyways, I'm thinking of that as the beef is Barbara Boucher and Edwidge Vinich.
Well, they did a different kind of stunt work.
Oh, yeah. Indeed. Much more.
I think that was it. I was just amazed at the way this was marketed with all the different retitling and everything. It was crazy. They really were pushing this movie pretty hard.
Oh, absolutely. I like the other name, A Muck. Like, wait a minute, also known as A Muck with an exclamation.
It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. So, Greg, did you have any final thoughts about good old A Muck?
No, I think we covered it well, and I mean, it was a first time viewing for me, and
Nice.
I appreciate the opportunity to watch it and talk about it because I actually really enjoyed this one. It was Giallo. I will say Giallo light, but still in the realm.
It's that high society thing where a lot of gialli are about like the bad behavior of the rich and the jet setting set, and this is absolutely that. Where it's like, oh, look at these poor little rich girls and poor little rich boys who have to get up to their kinky stuff because they're so bored with life. Like they don't have to work all day. It's like, look, people who work 40 hours a week can be perverts. Am I right, Greg?
Sure. Why not? And we did, because I was going to say, like, we had 0 J&B, but we did have J&B. I've been corrected. We did have smoking. I didn't see Astor cigarettes.
I know. We'll do 5 more viewings and you'll spot that G&B. Because, I got this back in the day when I didn't have a lot of gialli to watch. There was like this and Night Evelyn Came Out of Her Grave. I used to watch that over and over again. This one I saw many, many times. But yeah, I love this because Barbara Boucher and Rosselle Baneri are unreal. They're so gorgeous that it's just, I can't even fathom it. Like,
yeah,
I'm so glad they don't do conventions in America that I know of. I just feel like stuttering like an idiot. I've seen you nude so much. But yeah, I love the little, even I'll take it, the little tiny hint of the supernatural. It's barely in the movie.
Oh yeah.
But I'll take it. I don't want the eel abuse. I really didn't like the duck hunting, but you know what? I'm trying to make peace with these dead animals in movies. Like it's already, it's already filmed.
I was waiting for the director to fall into the quicksand after that scene. Why are we killing ducks on here? Why? You get in the quicksand.
There's so many great fake duck hunting scenes where they just throw the dead bird in the air.
Yeah.
Like in, oh God, what was that one? Murder Obsession.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody shot shit that day. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah. This one they're shooting. They're straight up killing ducks. So.
Boo. I mean, ducks are so dumb. Give them a chance, I'm still going to eat a duck, and I will eventually eat more eel because I eat sushi a lot. So
I'm not a sushi eater, so I don't eat eel. So
I'm not going to go vegetarian over this.
No, hell no.
And of course, my last thing about this is, no, that was it.
Yay!
Woo!
We did it.
So Greg, before I let you escape, run out of here, and move on with your life from this terrible experience. What is a recently seen and loved film?
I went through my letterbox because I've been watching a lot of old movies lately.
Nice.
Okay. Reason being, we're doing our 1970s flashback sequence stuff. So we're in the year 1972 right now. So I've been watching a ton of 1972.
Great year. I love it.
And it was. And there was 2 that I watched. I'll pick one, but the one I'm not going to talk about is Frenzy. I'd never seen Alfred Hitchcock's Frenzy.
Oh, wow.
So I rented it, checked it out, really enjoyed it. But the one that really, and I've seen it multiple times, is Brian De Palma's Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
I love Sisters, man. And that movie, I've seen it a few times now, but watching it this last time was just, I was like, oh, the chef kiss. I was like, man, this movie's great, man. It's so great. Margot Kidder is freaking phenomenal. So yeah, that's probably the best one I've seen recently.
Nice.
Like I've been in the 70s.
Yeah, I used to dislike De Palma, not for the subject matter. I love his movies are freaking great. I had a thing with I was against his affectations, like the split screen,
right,
and some of the higher dramatics, like the heightened stuff. And then I realized that everything I watch has these affectations, just maybe not split screen specifically, but like everything is so amped up and crazy. And I've been kicking myself and going back, and it's like getting to watch his stuff for the first time again. Like Blowout.
Yeah,
freaking
man, that's probably my favorite De Palma.
Oh my God. I went ahead and I just knew I hadn't seen Blowout for over 20 years. And I was just, it's a Criterion sale, do it. And then I watched it. I was like, I'm an idiot for not liking this the first time. Same thing. I haven't seen Body Double since I kind of liked it. And I know I'm going to be like, you moron.
Great. I'm telling you, it's great.
Oh, God, yeah.
Got to take a shower.
So Sisters I'm looking forward to revisiting.
Are you a fan of Phantom of the Paradise?
I love it.
I do too.
That was one that I had read about and seen reviews of and had never watched it, and just bought it on a whim. And Lietta and I, we were like, whoa, holy shit. And anyone who makes that much use of oh my God, I can only think of her as Susie Bannion. Oh no. What is her name?
In the movie?
What is the actress who played Susie Bannion in Suspiria?
Oh shit. Now you put me on.
It's gone.
I follow her on Facebook, on Twitter.
Dude, I'm sorry I broke your brain.
You broke my brain. Jessica Harper.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm telling you, the older I get, for those of you out there who aren't in your mid to late 40s,
hang in there.
When you get there, forget actors' names and directors' names. You'll remember a movie real well, but the title of it, it might not come back. Anyway, thank you.
Yep.
I love that. But yeah, as far as Frenzy goes, Frenzy's great. What a freaking brutal movie.
I had not seen it, and I've heard Dr. Shock, Dave Becker talk about it. People talk about it. I was like, and Alfred Hitchcock's probably my second favorite director of all time. Nice. So I'm sitting here like, dude, I've got to see it. It's 72 perfect time, and rented it. Best $3.99 I've ever spent.
Oh my God. But my recently seen and loved is one that I have always really enjoyed, and it just is getting a Criterion Blu-ray. It is The Heroic Trio from 1993. A beautiful trio of badass Hong Kong actresses as the superheroes in a movie. It is pure cinematic cocaine. It is. I can't believe Criterion is starting to do some crazy Hong Kong stuff.
Right.
It's perfect. It comes with a sequel, which I think is okay. I definitely was prepared to dislike it because nobody liked that sequel when it came out, but it's watchable. But yeah, I highly recommend Heroic Trio. Johnny To is a force to be reckoned with, and this movie is his directing is batshit crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at imagery right now, and yeah, this is definitely right up my alley.
Apparently, Batman, 1989's Batman was an inspiration, and a couple other things, but one of the characters is named Wonder Woman, but she's as far from the American Wonder Woman. She's more like the Batman of the movie, but it's just such a fucking insane movie. I love Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
and her character is conflicted in this one, and she's just so good. But you've never seen anything quite like Heroic Trio. It is it is outstanding, and the fact that Criterion, they always do their movies justice, obviously,
sure.
But this is a perfect transfer. I mean,
wow,
for a movie that I saw on a freaking bootleg, not pan and scan, but where it's full frame, but it's also widescreen.
Right.
So the picture on your TV is super small. That's how I saw Heroic Trio.
Okay.
And it's great. But also, Criterion Channel apparently had Ricky O, The Story of Ricky.
Okay.
Oh boy. It is a splatter kung fu movie. It's action. So it's action, horror, kung fu with like body morphing comic book craziness. Like, the director wanted to do a direct comic book to screen adaptation, so all of the body horror from the manga is literally in the film.
Oh wow!
And dude, it's nuts. And that's not even the craziest part of the movie. The dubbing is unreal. You think Italian films get weird dubbing?
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong movies, it is so insane. So maybe Story of Ricky will get a Blu-ray from Criterion. I saw the old DVD. Do you remember The Daily Show?
Yeah.
The old Daily Show. They used to have this GIF of a quick clip of this huge guy in a Hong Kong movie slapping his hands together and making this dude's head explode. And they used to play that before. They had like a little trivia challenge, like a question time. And they would always show the clip of this guy like just smacking his hands together and making this guy's head explode. And I saw that on The Daily Show for years, having no idea what it was. But sure enough, that was from Story of Ricky.
Wow.
And that's not even the 10th craziest thing in that movie.
It's like way down below.
It's like, dude, you have no idea. Credits. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like it. But that's my recently seen and a bonus film.
Nice. I wrote them down so I can check them out. Man, that's.
I can't guarantee Heroic Trio will hit for you. I think you'll enjoy it, but I definitely think Story of Ricky will just knock you out. It's so good.
I love me some Asian cinema, so I'm sure we're actually going to be doing the Vengeance trilogy coming up here in the next few weeks.
Man.
The first time watches. I've not seen Old Boy or any of these. So.
Oh boy. Yeah, those are classics. Absolute classics. Nice. Well, Greg, you got to tell people how they can find you. What is GregaMortis? What's your all about?
Oh man,
what's your all about?
What is?
I don't know what I just said.
What is my flashing backing?
Wow.
As far as to hear, you can check me out, of course, on the podcast Land of the Creeps, which is landofthecreeps.blogspot.com, where myself, my wife, the Twisted Temptress Pearl, and we got Dr. Shock, Dave Becker, and Bill the Butcher Van Bagel. Every other week on Tuesdays, we talk horror. And then we got a side, we call it a presented by, which is every other Friday. I know it sounds odd. We come out weekly, but on every other Friday, Ian Erz and I have what's called Black Glove Mysteries, where we are covering Italian Giallo, as well as we're throwing in some Polizia. We're doing some Italian spaghetti Western, just anything Italian. We did do Blast Fighter recently. So we were throwing in some cheese. So we do that every other Friday. And then my wife and I also do a segment called Mortis Vision, where we originally started doing television horror. And we've kind of switched up. We do that, but we also do made-for-television horror, or we just do random BS talk, and we have fun. So that's where you can follow us there. And I'm also on a podcast called Jay of the Dead's new horror movie podcast with 9 other hosts. So we're called the Avengers, I guess. Jay calls us Jay of the Dead, the horror Avengers. So we got Dave C. from a lot of the horror world will know, and Dr. Shock, and oh my God, Gilman Joel. So I don't want to go through the list because there's so many, and I love everyone. Cool. Check out Jay the Dead's new horror movie podcast, where we review new movies. And I also have a segment called Monsters on the Mantle, where I look at 1950 horror movies, 1950s. So I get into all the monster movies and pick.
Oh, nice.
So I've been doing that for a little while. So that's what I do on that side. So
damn.
You can also, if you want to get in touch with me, email me, GregaMortis666@gmail.com. So that's GregaMortis666@gmail.com, or follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, X, all them places. Just look up GregaMortis, you'll find me.
How long have you been doing Land of the Creeps?
I started Land of the Creeps in February. I had this wrote down. I think it was February 2011 when I started Land of the Creeps. And I started podcasting in 2010. I had an original show. It was called the Creepsure Feature Horror Show.
Wow.
So that was way, way back in the day. And then that morphed into a side job where I was working with a guy named Bill Shetty doing Planet Macabre. And that spawned over to Horror Palace Network, which spawned over to me changing the name of the Creepsure Feature over to Land of the Creeps. So yeah, it's been a while.
Jeez, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, because Brad and I, we were really obsessed with the Nashi cast back in 2010, like 2009, 2010, whenever they started. We were right. I don't know. I doubt we were their first listeners, but we were definitely in those early years. And Brad was like, "Oh, we should do a podcast." I was like, "All right, let's just steal their format and do it." And so that's how we. But yeah, that was 2011, like May or something like that. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy how time flies. Like, that's basically myself and my original podcast partner. At the time, went by Dr. Butcher. Now he goes by Dr. Dirty, and he doesn't podcast anymore. But I still keep in touch with him. His name's Joe.
Oh, yeah,
Great guy.
yeah.
And Joe and I did Italian cinema on Land of the Creeks for a while. And he's much like Ian, man. He is all about Italian cinema. So I like to put myself with people that are kind of better informed than I am. So I put myself in the middle of it, like, okay, Joe was so good at Italian cinema. Let me get in there. And he introduced me. And now Ian is just like a maestro. So I follow him on. I'm on his coattails, like, all right, Ian, I'm listening to you, buddy. Giddy up, boy.
You got to soak it up. You're just like, hey, I'm here. I'm vibing with you guys.
There you go. I'm riding the coattails, and I'm loving every second of it. But that's where you can follow us at.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. We took a long time to get to this.
It's great, man. I've had a blast.
Hell yeah. All right, folks. Take care. Have a wonderful time. And bye.
Sweet.
Folks, thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you'd like to write into the show, send an email to doomedmoviethon@gmail.com or hit us up at doomedmoviethon on Instagram or at doomedmoviethon on Twitter or at doomedmoviethon at Discord, or go to Hello This Is the Doom Show on Facebook and message us there. If you want more Hello This Is the Doom Show, go to doomedmoviethon.com and click the podcast button for the archive, or go to YouTube and look up Doomed Moviethon and you'll find the classic episodes of Hello, This Is the Doomed Show. And if that's still not enough, I have written some books, about my love of movies over on Amazon.com. Just look up Richard Glenn Schmidt and you'll find Giallo Meltdown, A Moviethon Diary, Giallo Meltdown 2, Cinema Somnambulist, or Doomed Moviethon, the book. Hello, This Is the Doom Show is a proud member of the Legion Podcast Network. Go to legionpodcast.com and check out the other great shows over there.